flew in with a camera and a dream. Another white savior with the YouTube scheme. Found a sweet girl half your age, so sweet. Now she's your content, our love so cheap. You say it's real, but we all see the game. Poverty porn with the romantic frame. She's your backdrop, your exotic prize, while you count the clicks from your paradise. Oh, don't be that guy with the vlog and a lie, selling a story while you're living the high. You say it's true love, but the comments all know you're just another old man with a show. Don't be that guy. You built a channel off her yes and dear, but the second she speaks you cut her clear. She's so shy, folks know she's just aware that her life's your script. Do you even care? You say she's happy, but we see the strain. Another brown face in your cash grab frame. Her family's struggling, but your Patreon's high. Tell me, hero, who's really saving lives? Oh, don't be that guy with a vlog and a lie, selling a story while you're living the high. You say it's true love, but the comments all know you're just another old man with.
That was extremely weird. All right, there it went again. Okay. So for some reason, I don't know if can you guys hear me? See, it's not letting me in. There it is. Good morning, guys. Can you guys see me now? Yeah, for some reason, I guess with the restart, it actually flipped the main camera. Huh, that is weird. Good morning. Good morning. Still learning. Yeah, it's really strange. So like when we put the video up to show that, it even takes the scroll out each time. So everything's another, what I call here, like manual. So Good morning, guys. Hope everybody's doing okay. I wasn't going to do a live stream. George is still asleep. He'll probably sleep all the way through the power outage, so I'm not even kidding that. So we usually do live streams on Saturdays, and he usually doesn't join anyways. And I didn't think I would do one, and then I'm like, no, let me do one. So let's give him something to talk about. Good morning, Geo. Tony's in the house, discerning dash. Scott, what is going on? Yeah, sorry about that. I'll officially have to go edit that out of there. So, new software, still learning some of it. And there was actually, I had to go into another section and the button was flipped off. So maybe when it updated, it did something like there's a toggle in another area that was flipped off. So, kind of crazy. So today I thought I would cover last live stream we talked about the homeless expats and the reason they become homeless and the epidemic. Well, with everything going on in the world, the escalations in the Middle East, the things going on in the US and around the world, and the flooding, it's officially rainy season. So there's a lot of areas that are being flooded, water running through the markets. You guys have probably seen the videos. I've seen a bunch of them here the last few days. And I thought I would go through that. We were just looking through our Bugout bag, and I think we're going to move it from one of those small traveling bags that we have. I guess that's one of the mini ones you would go to a hotel with if you're going like a day or something, and put it into the international one we have, because if we have to leave up out of here, then we're going to need a lot more things. So I'm going to tell you what we put in the bug out bag, like ready to go. Although, like George said, unless this building burns down, more than likely we're just going to be here and just in one spot. The area that George has moved us into doesn't tend to flood. Certain areas of Angel City does. We're on the outskirts. We're like 2 miles from the airport, 2 miles from the mall, and we're probably less than a half a mile to the interstate. Probably not even that. Probably a quarter of a mile. And so we're in a real prime position, not area. It's just an everyday neighborhood. But so I don't know that we would be flooded. We've been in this place for almost 3 years. I think it'd be 3 years in October, and there hasn't been anything that even remotely. You guys seen the wind that blew up the trike cover, and the neighbors' cover over their porch was about ready to flip off, but we don't get where we get flooded. But in saying that, more than likely, we would just stay here, and all natural disasters, world disaster, government disasters, or any of that would happen. So, let me know if you guys are a prepper. I know a lot of people are. Some say it's a waste. Um, it could be depending on the situation, but hey, you may survive for a couple weeks. So what you do survive, you got to watch out for other people. So in the end, so that's what we will be going through today. And other things will actually cause that I'll go through it. It may not just be that. Could be bank that causes you a total disaster when it goes wrong. A lot of the guys decide not to have their money put here. They don't bring extra cards. You might get scammed by a male or female Filipino, and lose your banking. So there's a lot of things that could cause this, but the biggest part of it is going to be about just the entire crisis going on in the world. So let me know if you guys are preppers. So I'll go through some comments, and then really I was just going to do a random, just live, and just discuss everything. There's just so much going on in the world. So I've done those lives before where I've had a lot of coffee and I just, ramble it up. So good morning, Lack of Spot. Our afternoon for you guys. So I guess that parade for the 250 year of military will be, it is Saturday, 6:30 a.m. It's the 14th. So I guess, I don't know what time it starts. So for us, it'll probably be 8, 9, or 10 at night. So yeah. Hey, Tona, what's going on? Good evening. In spirit. He's got 2 cats on him right now, sleeping. especially at 6:30 a.m. And he won't even wake up. But it hasn't been that hot. But I think we officially have the AC. We may be getting a smaller electric bill because when we had the split air con, we didn't put it on auto. So we officially just put it on auto. So I guess it's been running constantly. That could explain the bill, guys. Besides it being on all the time, and then we got the dehumidifier. Yeah. Wake up and what is going on, Geo? Good morning. It is early. You look super relaxed. Yeah. Get the popcorn out, man. Nope, you guys get a show about 3 times a year. And it was about time, so yeah. Early live because the power outage is at 8 a.m. So I'll probably, usually we do a 2 hour live. More than likely, this will just run into them flipping the switch. That is irritating. That is something else that you guys have to prep for. To like we did is that here in Mabalacat, Pelco 2, the power goes down constantly. That's the one thing I hate about being here, but glad that we're not like in the heart of Angeles dealing with some of the flooding and the traffic and some things that go on. But we have a lot of them. In the last 30 days, we had the 12-hour ones. Today will be 8 hours. And we've had a bunch where it goes down for a half hour, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and a lot of the items have to be turned back on. And then I have to make, I check the water fountain to make sure it come back on for the cats. We have the electric water fountains, and I have to go manually. I always say manually. I have to go get water. Okay, so that way the cats and pets have water, and then I pick that up because the fountains come back on. So it kind of puts me through a couple things when the power outage goes out, but the biggest thing is the surges when it came back on. The last time it did, the actual outlet that was in the kitchen for the stove and the outside where the washer goes totally sizzled. I mean, it never worked after that. And they came in, that's what they said. They said that the plug, it was just old, like it's the original, but I thought these buildings were like 40 or 50 years old. They said they're like 15. So this is fairly new, but he said they're the originals and it's just old. That's what the guy said. He hooked it up, got it together, and that's been fixed. But the power outages, besides the heat, has to be one of the biggest things. And I want to say that you're going to find that there's a lot of things that you may feel uncomfortable with when you come here or you dislike. It doesn't mean that you hate the country or the people or something else. Understand this is YouTube and it's content. People do content, they say things, they do things. And if I didn't like it, I wouldn't be here. So in the last month or two, nobody ever says anything about how George says things, but of course they are me because they're not going to say something to him. But in general, I do like being here. And if I didn't like it, I would leave. And I will leave when I want to leave. So I just want to make that statement. But even with the power outages and different things that have happened, I still like being here. You still have the right to say things. You don't want to be out there protesting like the US and waving flags here because your butt's going to go right to jail. Because I had to think about that. I heard that gentleman talk about what's going on in the US. If they tried that crap and waved the flag, American flag, in Mexico, oh yeah, if I tried that crap when we were in the mountains of Mexico, I'd just totally disappear. Same here. You got to still have that level of respect. You still have to obey the rules and laws, and that's where it's at. But yeah, I don't like the power outages. I don't like the heat. I don't like the way some things are done, but it doesn't mean that I'm saying, hey, I don't want to be here. Let's see, get the popcorn out. I don't know if I put this up. It's early. Yeah. What is going on, Scott? I don't know why. See, there it is. Yeah, I don't know why it. There we go. Yeah, there's a lot of glitches in this software. A lot to learn. I'm worried now the next live stream, same thing's going to happen with the camera. I had to go into another section, not turning on the camera. There was a toggle saying add to the room, and I'm like, I don't know why it wasn't at the bottom of the screen. Hey, what is going on, Scott? And I always say that wrong. Isa's world. What is going on? Being in the Philippines now makes me see how difficult it is to do live streams early here so people in the US can watch. We had that issue. We used to do a live like every day. I think we did one for a month every day. Then we did one 5 days a week. Then we were four, but we were putting out videos too. So George was burned out with what he was going through. I was assisting, and I'm like, yeah, we can't keep going like that. And it was never about the money. We've discussed that. It just goes right into the cat funds and birthday and vacation funds or whatever goes on. But yeah, determining that was really hard, and it depends on where your people are. Like right now, it's there's a lot of expats here that watch. A big portion are other YouTubers trying to learn things. There's other people coming here. And so I think we're at 60 something percent that are outside of the Philippines. But then when we look at our list, it shows they're here in Angel City and that they're all over. So I feel that they're, watching. And then of course you got the people that you rent space out in their head all over the world. And but yeah, the time frame can make a difference. And we've tried all different times. Probably going early will not bring me any views, although I do see that it's nice that there are 77 people this early in the morning. Usually if we try an hour early or something, it usually doesn't work. So yeah, sorry about that. I went through there. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, guys. Hey, what is going on? Hey, Vlogging Life is here. Yeah, there's a lot to say about this software. Like every time I click on one, it actually immediately, if you don't click right in the center, it's like delete, respond to the comment, and it's not exactly, but there's so much good about it. So, and it's inexpensive. Vlogging Life, good morning. Slick Rick is in the house. Prepper plan A, B, and C. Yeah, and see, George was always a prepper. He talked about that when he was here a few lives back, and he's talked about it multiple times. Being a prepper is something like when I met George, his house had 5 months worth of food. Like he had it under the cabinets, in the cabinets. He had cabinets in the living room. He liked to shop too. I'll let you know that he had about 40 Amazon boxes around that he was opening up and going through, but he was always busy too. So that's the way he was doing his shopping. But we are to an extent, like we get the Moscavo sugar, we have a second bag of it. We have 10 cans of like tuna. We always keep extra cat food around. And I'm looking now at the shelf. We had the stuff that was sent to us in Billig Buy-in boxes. We get a few Billig Buy-in boxes a year from the viewers, which is a blessing because now we've got several, cans. We got actually tons of cans of SpaghettiOs and raviolis, and we have. We were sent everything, guys. We got spam. We got all kinds of stuff, and so this is good in case something happens, whether it's the floods or natural disaster here or the things, like I said, going on around the world. George doesn't feel anything's going to happen here. It's everywhere else that they have to worry about that. It's a pretty neutral area that they use. And so they tend to be nice to the Philippines. But prepping is a necessity, especially with the storms. And then when we were talking about the Bugout bags, I'm going to tell you now, like the list of stuff that we have, and then we have set aside to grab in case like this is like fires are another problem here because of electrical wiring. And then people use these gas stoves, those little propane cans, and it does cause these fires. But we have like those, I don't know, what do you guys call those ropes that you can cut trees down when you go camping, but I've seen them used in mafia movies, but it's got the little handles on each side. So we have a couple of those like in a bag. And then We have a little axe, and then I wrote down here we have like glow sticks. We have a flashlight. We got a bunch of packs of Tang. It's got the vitamin C. We keep like a pair of pants and a couple shirts, and an outfit can be actually washed out. Then we keep a small bag of cat food in there, and I think there's a couple cans of tuna and things that way if we need the first few days to be ready, which I mean, in a really bad disaster we'll need more than that, but it's a start. We have like iodine, band-aids, super glue, in case wounds have to be super glued together. We have like our IDs and passport, they're laminated in copies, and we are I'm registered with the embassy. I'm used to saying we all the time. I'm registered with the embassy. There's a lot of people that aren't. I would suggest that you actually do that. Paul, Old Dog New Tricks, has gone through, and just recently he mentioned that you guys should. You just want to make sure everything's up to date when you actually do that. But prepping is a must here. You're no longer just in the U.S. You're somewhere where you solely have to rely. If I was back in the U.S. and all this was happening, my family's all there or up north, and I would have some sort of assistance going on, plus my friends are back there. Here it's just George and then his family, and then of course there are some expats that we know, but it's not like what I had back in the US. So, but it with everything going on, this should be on people's mind. We're not talking about everybody, we're talking about Jesus's Last Supper, and we should be like, getting ready for Revelation and all that. I mean, we could, but it's really getting tense out there, guys, and all corners of the world. Yeah, bug out bag, right? Is there another name for that? Just get out. I said, George, just take that bug out bag and go on. Yeah. I have the boat outfitted with solar, so I have all power freezer without needing electric. Yeah, today I wanted to show you, we've showed you these before. So this right here is 350 watts, and this will run our internet, and it's got the USB port. So we can have we have two of these, by the way. And then we have this that is solar. These were a lot more expensive in the US. Here, they're a fraction of the cost. Everything is a fraction here. So we have a couple of these. The thing is it would take forever to refill these we have one solar panel that will refill this. Once this one's dead, then we could plug it in, and I think it gets up to 40% throughout the day. But we do have a couple of those. This right here was about $70. I know these are way more expensive in the US, but it'll run this fan probably. We got like the fan that can run 12 hours on it. Plus you can charge things like your phones throughout that 12-hour period. And then the other one we use to connect the internet. It runs. And so it'll run that entire 12 hours. And then same thing. If you need something like the tablet usually stays charged, and we can watch movies and just chill, or you can sleep all day like George. And but those are nice to have. I was going to get a third one, but George says usually it doesn't go down more than 12 hours. And if there's some natural disaster, then we have the solar panel. It may take a day or so to get it filled, but at least we have it. So, and then we always keep, I got a bucket here that's got little mini battery packs in it, and they're all fully charged now. So we still never got the generator fixed yet. It needs to be drained and some other stuff, and that's kind of how it goes. Hey, MB, what is going on? Hey, Damon, good morning. The 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army is on Saturday the 14th. Yeah, the founding of the Army. Okay, so it's the Army. I thought I keep hearing him say military, but it is for the Army, not the entire military. So, yeah, I don't know what time. Yeah, it's already Saturday for us. We're already in the future. I got the fan blowing on me, and so some of my hair is actually, because I don't have a mic cover on today, but I feel like I got like probably some cat hair. And by the way, we had a few people on the side note ask about the cat litter that we started using because I mentioned it on and off. And yes, people have cats and they do listen. People listen to everything. And we're using that cassava, which is new. It works. I'm now a believer that part of the dust that we were dusting off weekly was the cat dust, even though it's not like downstairs here with us. There's a level on the stairs because our stairs has two levels, so it was in between. We still had the dust, but we haven't seen any, so it did reduce the dust. It does absorb smell. I wouldn't say that it's flushable and wouldn't recommend it because it kind of turns like to a gel and then it starts to turn hard. If you don't go scoop your box 10 times a day, you're not going to catch it where it can be flushed. So it's been working. So I've been really happy. I don't know where I was going with that one, but I was just thinking about, that it's helped quite. Oh, I was talking about the cat and the hair. That's why I brought it up. So I am still waking up myself. Sarah, good morning. Yeah, I wasn't sure if I'd be doing a live, but I figured what the heck. Get a surge protector, high capacity power banks here. We do have the surge protectors on. It was just the plug itself that went bad, and that is highly recommended because that's the first thing that George did. The new computer that we ended up getting, and we ended up getting like one of those mini computers, and we were going to wait and do it for our birthday. So I think it's about $600 for it, but it takes a fraction of the area, and it's going to take. That's another thing that was probably running the electric bill. We were running a high power laptop that was just sucking the energy away, and it was on 12 hours a day. And we put it in sleep mode, but we were always watching or doing something on it. So we're pretty sure that'll cause the bill to go down by at least 1,000 or more pesos or $20. But yes, that is necessary. We do have all the things plugged in, even the internet box, the Wi-Fi setup is all plugged into that because it's just necessary because it goes down so much, and sometimes you can see the flickering. It's just crazy. And I watched there's something, I believe it is on Max or HBO, where they talked about the power issues in the Philippines and how people are paying, I believe they said 20% of their income was going to power bills. And I thought they were off on the amount by saying the average Filipino pays 5,000 a month, but or 5,000 pesos a month. That seemed a little high. Was it? But it's, the power is the highest cost in the Philippines, and it's the most in Asia. Sorry, I am still asleep. The electricity is the highest cost in Asia is here in the Philippines, and the outages are constant. It is so unstable. The same with the internet. The other day I dealt where we had surges and I had to reboot everything. Then the internet started acting up, and I was just going back and forth with power outages. And then the internet was starting to act up, and I was just like, ah. So may bitch about it, but I'm still here. I still think it balances out to actually be here. Some people just can't hack it. I mean, if I couldn't hack it or deal or hated it, I'd have left a long time ago. So that is for sure. Yes, the life straws is a good idea. I need to relook in that. Right now, we have those tablets the military uses, but I've tried drinking that water. It's not the best, but in an emergency, yes, for sure. Yeah. I'm having trouble staying in chat. Oh, is it throwing you out, or let me take a look here. I don't know. Is it your internet, or I don't think it's the streaming software. I just couldn't get the camera up in the beginning. We've never had that. We've done several live streams on here, and all of a sudden, like there's a bar sitting at the right side that shows like captions, QR codes, music, and to invite people in and everything. And I had to go into that section to look to flip the camera on. It shows it was off. And there's a camera section on the bottom, but I was dealing with different things. So yeah, I don't know why, Sarah. We just noticed about the city that the protest is happening in our city. Yeah, we have an active, hey Jen, wildfire is about, we are 25 minutes away. Yeah, I've been watching different things, and with social media, there's going to be so many different things. And I was just watching a talk show that was late night where Arnold Schwarzenegger was on there, and he was saying that in Los Angeles, that that these things are not happening everywhere, and that things are more exaggerated on the internet, and different people, different opinions, and everybody just has to take all that in. What I keep seeing though is that all the protesting is spreading across the United States, and there's some other thing called the King something, and they're even doing it in small towns. Then I keep seeing like where they show government sites trying to call people in to fill seats on certain events, and then people being paid to protest, and that they were there getting a couple $100. And I believe all this. It's just, but you do have it's just all over the place, and it's kind of, it's America. Yeah, they're saying, I think it's called the King something. They've got maps and telling people where to go, and it's, I would just stay out of all of that. Yes, you have the right for peaceful protest, but some of that's not so peaceful. That's my piece and George's piece on that. When you start destroying things, and if you wouldn't do that in your country, don't do it here. Even if you've been here 10 years and you're from Guadalajara or something, you wouldn't do that in your country. So you got to, they're looting, they're doing other things. Smile and be happy. Yeah, so it's just when I think about all of that, I believe the illegals that are there illegally should take the money and leave. They should make arrangements. The way they're doing it is wrong. And there's a lot of different levels of this. There's so many layers. I'm always prepping. Huh. Yeah, Sarah says she can't do a like. Try going out of the live stream and back in. And if you're not, I don't see that you're on Facebook, because we haven't turned the Facebook live stream on. Still never got approved just to have us randomly on TikTok to stream that way. But yeah, try going out and back in, because I see you there. Let me double check to make sure, because people will show up in the stream but not on. No, I don't see any restrictions. I want to make sure, because it's easy to click on that stuff for sure. And that's weird. It won't let me go back out. Prepare for natural disasters, people. Find a hand pump for water, food, medical needs. Yeah, wind up radios to charge the phones. Yeah, and I'm getting ready to purchase. I just seen where it's like it's all solar panel on the back, and it's a light, and you can charge your phone for a while. And that only has to be out in the daytime. So, and they're like $4 or $5 here. So they sell a lot of those. I just seen a woman on that. I think it's called. Oh, what was that? What was the on HBO called? Power to the People, I think was like the name of it, dealing with the power. This woman has been 20 years without electricity in the Philippines. A lot of Filipinos live without power. And she works full time. She's a housekeeper for somebody, and she's got a couple kids. And she goes, I'm not going to spend that money on electricity. So we're probably talking $40 a month, $50 a month. I think they said the bill was $50 to $100 on average for the Filipinos, which is, what is that, about 2,000 pesos to 5,000 pesos. Our bill on average is 7 to 10,000. It depends on the area too. And she won't. They use solar power stuff to charge their phones and everything. And they just cook with wood and they go without it. I mean, there's a lot of people that live like that. But you need to prep. Go within is absolutely right. We have like a week's worth of, we take blood pressure medicine, both of us every day. I'd have a bottle of aspirin, all of that. I would be, chickens are out. I want to let you know that I went to go feed the dogs this morning and feed the cats outside. There's a hole in the bottom of the gate. We officially have chickens coming in the yard, and they're not our chickens. And so the cats just let them walk around. They're probably there for the cat food. So, Jen, you mean back in the States? Yeah, sounds like Arizona. I think she's in California. I could be off. Storing food, water, and other essentials in the Philippines for natural disasters won't help because your neighbors will find out, come and ask for help when you run. Yes, a loving person. You're absolutely right. Here's my thought. I prep, but the same thing goes through my head. There's a couple preppers that are showing up all over now with everything going on, with what's going on in the Middle East and the possibility of global war and all these things. They are now telling you, like, I guess several people have been warning, like government officials in Europe and all that, get your food, get this. And they're telling people now prep. So when the government starts telling you that, it's a little concerning. And the deal is if they set off what they called EPMs or EMPs, if they do that, everything's going down. Your car's not going to work. All these things, unless you got what Faraday cages and stuff. But when all this starts happening, yeah, you're going to need all the manual stuff. Will one of those crank up ones work if that goes off? I don't know. Usually George knows that stuff, but your neighbors, yes, they said that this is one of the times that you're going to have to be quiet about everything. So, you bragging to your neighbors 3 doors down that you've got 50 cans of tuna may not be a good idea. You have to stay vigilant to just do it and just let your family know. You're going to have neighbors coming from everywhere because, yes, they're not going to prep. They're not going to believe it until it actually happens. That's the one good thing about me and George that we do understand is like the prepping, and there's a level of it. We don't go like all the way out, but we're always ready. So, but yes, no, they're going to come, and it's going to be hard. It's kind of like when people here have the sorry stores, they basically are giving away half their store and they never get it back. So that's what's going to happen here and in the US. You're going to be feeding your neighbors. When do you actually stop it? So there's a level and everything. Okay, I was thinking using California, Jen. Sorry. Yeah, Portland, Oregon. They're saying they're everywhere. They said there's maps. They're showing it on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook that these are all going on in the US everywhere. Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's actually good. Big up to antics, pumping, fro, the Philippines genre. Gotcha. What is going on, ladies? Now the likes are working. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on, Mary. Mary is in heat again. I don't get it. I had another female dog in the U.S., but she was fixed when she was a small puppy. The vet's office did it when she was only a few months old. Mary, we haven't, and she needs to be, but this, like every 2 months, she's in heat now. And I thought they said it was like once or twice a year, but she's in heat. So, and she won't wear one of those diapers. So like dogs, even George was like, oh, I didn't know that they bleed. Yeah, they bleed. So now so I'm just going to put a piece of tape on her. Something. So, hey, what's going on? Robert, it's crazy. I have a subscription to your channel, but keep getting unsubscribed, wondering if there's others having. They do. Now, when you say subscription, I don't know if that's like our membership. They're kind of not the same. But when you're subscribed, then yes, people over the years, they've dealt with that. So basically, you have to unsubscribe and then hit the resubscribe button. Every time YouTube does an update, it could unsubscribe people. So, not sure why, but it definitely does. So, oh, Sarah said she did do the subscribe and unsubscribe. It did not work. So, let me see. Yes, it just did it again. Yeah. I think every time it does an update, they've just added a bunch more things. Hey, what is going on? I wish I could run. Martin P. I did up to having kids, so. And then, like, when I met George, I was in the gym. I didn't go one day a week, like on Sundays, and I would spend 40 minutes or so working out at different stations, and then I would swim the other hour. And I did that. I was vegan for a couple years, did all the low fat, high fat, and since I've been here, I've been on fasting, and so I'm trying to reapply all that. That's another thing. Need to get the health together. So, a blogging life 4 months into the K1 visa, trying to see how legal immigration work out. Yeah, I'd be concerned about the U.S. right now with immigration. I know that if I knew what was going on in the U.S. was going on here, then I wouldn't have come. And I told George, my heart goes out because if the same thing happened here and they were profiling like big white girls here or something, or profiling foreigners and chasing them down. Now, if you're legal, that's one thing. There's a bunch of foreigners here that do not have proper visas, a lot. But if they were hunted down like that or different things were going on, and then if you was legal like I am and you went through and you had all your paperwork and then still was being messed with, I don't think I would want to be in that country. And a lot of people have decided not to. Arnold Schwarzenegger was talking about that part of it. He said that it's killing, they don't want to see the businesses suffer in tourism and that everything is okay. I wouldn't say it's okay. I think he's just trying to, he's keeping on a super positive attitude, and he should. But I would consider with caution because right now I know of 3 different Filipinos that have been grabbed, put in jail, and one of them, they haven't even had a response to what's going on with the person. And I'm sure there's a lot more. That's just the ones that were in the news and everything. So I know George's family is taking all cautions, and they're citizens. So they've been citizens, they own their home, and you still have to. I would be concerned at this point. Laguna, what is going? Okay, so it's called No King's Protest. Okay. People bracing for tomorrow, Saturday, Trump's birthday as well. In the meantime, the war. Yeah, and that is scary. Because you know what I heard this morning, and it's as if it's all true. Understand that those that know us know that these are just general conversations in these live streams, and open, that they said they've been bringing that stuff in. Like, supposedly they brought some of this stuff. Like, this has been planned for years, that they brought something over a long time ago. And I was trying to listen, but I try not to get in there. She lives off grid. Where in the Philippines? There's a lot of them that do. There's a lot that just don't have electricity in the house, Ruby. Um, uh, Manila. The actual filming and everything else was Manila, and the other one was by the power plant that was built that they haven't opened. They showed a bunch of people living in that area, so I don't know exactly what area where the power plant is. The rest of them were in Manila. There's a lot of people that don't have. So she was just in one of those regular brick buildings. So yeah, there's a lot of them that are living by in Tondo that don't have power, of course. And yeah, but there's a lot here. There's some in our neighborhood. It's weird. So you have this layer of duplexes here. One street over is the basketball court. You have that government official guy in a compound that probably holds about 20 people. And then you have a newer apartment, like little building with probably about 8 of them in there. It's like this subdivision is it's so out there what's actually built in here. And then a couple houses down, it looks like somebody just built it with a bunch of bricks and a bunch of dirt in the yard, and it's crazy. And they do not have power there, so or they're not using it anyways. But I don't even know if it's wired for it. So I'm living off grid in the States right now. Yeah, he's camping. Looks like fun. Me and George went camping all the time. That's something I've done since a kid. I started singing the bear song the other day, and I was like, "Do you know that song, George?" He goes, "No." I said, "Well, it kind of started with me for summer camp. Went for many years." So, yeah, yeah, I love camping. Like I said, we made several trips before we left. Me and George got a lot of stuff out of our system. We went camping all the time. We went to travel and concerts and different places in Florida, and we went everywhere. Spent a ton of money, had a lot of fun, just did some outrageous stuff. We knew that it was, going to be a long time before we went back. That in case we didn't make it through the mountains of Mexico. Gio save up some cash after the Maya cash strain. Paying for her kids' mall clothes gets expensive. Well, it can. My prepping is to take somebody else's stuff. Beat ask later, huh? Yeah. EMP is a nuclear explosion in the sky that fries all the electronics. No one is going to use. Really? You don't think any of the people that attack would ever use EMPs? They're saying that's the first thing they're going to use. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But if they don't, then that's better. But like I said, here in the Philippines, I bet we're 50 times more safer than you guys are in the US. And the crazy part is when we were in the United States, we were so close to MacDill Air Force Base. Probably not a good idea. Womanizer. Geo, if you move back, invite me to move back. Yeah, he's currently in the US. No King's Day, short for 50 protest, 50 states, one movement. I got you. The 50, okay, 50501 is an American grassroots political organization founded to protest policies and actions of Trump. Yes, the wind-up radio will work without having to charge it. You have to wind it up. It'll last 30 minutes. Okay, yeah, that's the one I'm looking into is the crank one. I don't know if I like they all come from China and that there aren't a lot of purchases, but I'll have to go look to see who else is selling it. Floating down the river. I'm on a 12 acres on a river, just me and the family of 4 bears out here. That would be nice. You can have a Western lifestyle in the Philippines if you just will cost you. Yes, that is true. US is way too expensive. That's why I moved to the Philippines in my 20s. I would agree. Because if everything that we have here, even if it isn't in the best, like, we've been told that, oh my God, they're living in a crappy area. Well, that's infrastructure in the Philippines isn't always the nicest. And I don't want to pay. Like I seen someone the other day that was looking for a 60,000 peso place. I didn't come here to pay 1,000 a month in rent either. So there's a good balance, and everything that we have here would cost us a couple thousand a month. So we're paying a fraction of the cost. I say it's Some people would say it's about 50% off, but some things are really inexpensive. But yes, the Western lifestyle costs. So if I would take away some of these Western amenities, there'd be a lot more in my bank account, but I didn't come here for that either. So we use a lot of electronics. We really do. Every time we've had a person come in to work at the house, they're like this and stuff, and it's because it's got a lot of electronics in it. So the air purifiers, we have 2 down here. We have a couple fans just in a small downstairs area. You got the AC. There's just electronics everywhere. We got a small speaker that, there's everything in here. It's crazy, but the Western will cost. Hey, what's going on? Ugly Tourist is in the house. Ice, ice, baby. I love ice. Yeah. LA is no joke, man. There's a lot. I seen where it shows that all the Trump people and all the people are heading to deal with people in LA. And I mean, yes, you don't burn the flag, you don't do the looting, you don't sit out there and, do all these things. I there's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of wrongs and a lot of rights. But I've heard everything from people saying it's going to turn to civil war, all the way to, this is nothing. There's nothing really going on. So maybe there's not. Hey, Robbie, most Filipinos who live in squatter areas usually tap into the grid illegally, and that's where the honest people have to pay extra to cover the power providers' losses. Yeah, George says they're doing that here in this neighborhood. So, but I know there are people that have built things here in the subdivision. They don't have power. We've actually been there. So, but no, that's what George was explaining that was on our electric bill. And I want to say it's almost 1,200 pesos. But we have double checked and just checked again with the landlord. There's no way that anybody can get to our box unless they're wiring stuff out to people up the wall. I don't know if there's another way, unless they're going up on the pole, maybe. I'm not familiar enough to know all that. I know that the item itself is behind a gate and then behind something else that they can't reach. So not even the people that live in that section can actually get to it unless they're going through the wire. Good morning. Hello, aloha from Hawaii. What is going on, the Hapsters? What's going on there? What's good in the Philippines these days? A lot of different things. Yeah, it's not raining right now. The rent. That's what's good. Cheap rent. Friendly people. Lots of good cooking and lots of things to do. I'm in Seattle right now, retiring in Tupelo next month. You can't live independently in Seattle unless you make 5. Yeah, that's insane. What did I see the other day? I think it was in Germany. The woman was saying that she had hardly anything for like 15 British pounds or something. Like no food at all, like vegetables and fruits. As things are out of control in Germany. But that, between the business and what we were spending and our outings, like what cost us the most is going to a concert and then out to eat. If we did the concert, out to eat, the traveling to the area, because it was usually 50 or 60 miles away, and then we stayed at a hotel, we could be out over $1,000 or more. And it didn't take much for us to spend that kind of money in Florida either. George had multiple cell phones for the business and for him. I had a cell phone. We were running 2 different places. He had his house. I had the apartment. We were paying like all expenses. So we were just burning through money before we left. And that's when we decided it's best to sell the business, wait for the country to reopen, go to Mexico and pay 25% of what it costs to live in the US and wait for the Philippines to open. And because we went in the pandemic. So, but it was too expensive. And then you add in, there was a lot of other things going on in the country at the time. Well, it's good to meet you. This is a different channel. I'm an American. For those that don't know, a recap, I'm an American woman that's been living here probably closer to 5 years now. And my husband is Filipino. So he's here. We keep it real. Recently, we had a falling out on air. We were fighting before air. And so now he's just sleeping. So who knows when he's going to come back on air. But we have tons of videos to actually watch. But it's just a really, usually raw and lively and comedic. We dress up in costume. We've done crazy outings, so you'd have to check it out to get an idea. Our channel cannot be based off of a few things that happen. So, yeah. But yes, usually George is here. On Saturdays, he usually isn't. So, starting about 6 months ago, he did not appear as much. So, I don't know, what was that? Probably about October of last year, because he does spend time at the family's house. He does do other work online. Then he stays up all night and then he sleeps. So, but yes, I have a Filipino husband. I cover things going on in the Angeles City, Pampanga area as a female expat. I'm on disability. We are not on a low budget, but a budget. So we're not claiming to be building houses. And we've been doing YouTube for years, way before people showed, and be here probably way after. So different type of channel. So paid protesters. I know there are, not all of them, but I know they're paying him, and there's no surprise on that. But what side is it coming from? Is that being done from the Republican side so they can bring in the different things that are going on? Is that all the Republican? Is it independent? Is it people wanting there to be a skirmish? It could be all the above. There it is. The government will plant, hey Joe, will plant in the crowd just to spark the flame. I think that's what they want. I think it's a distraction. This has been said on all sides. This is all a distraction. This is a major distraction for everything going on. Aw. Miss the Philippines. Yeah, Sean, Seattle is insane. Last month I sold my home in Maple Valley and left the States for good. Yeah, I couldn't even imagine. Yeah, I can't even imagine costs right now. I'd probably be totally shocked, man, what's really going on. Pole taps are common in province off the nice oversea Pinoy's house, usually left attended for a few months. So is that how they get it? Because I told people like Chippy when we came here, for those that, are our regulars that come in, we came in here and there was a dude living in the house. George knew about it. He wasn't going to tell me. This is the stuff I talk about that George leaves out, right? So there was a guy that's been living in the house. Supposedly he's a house watcher. So George spent a half hour arguing with me about him being a house watcher. And I'm like, but there's several places empty. Why isn't he? So they knew we were moving in for a few weeks. And then the guy was still here on the day of the, we had paid the deposit. So he shouldn't even have been in there after. We were allowed to move in at any time. The day we brought the moving truck, he was still in here. We had to wait for him to gather his stuff. There wasn't a whole lot. Like he had just some blankets on the floor. He had a couple of the stray cats in here. He had some kitchen stuff and a couple plates, but he was living in the house. And then we probably had the electricity on, I don't know, it had to be less than 10 days. It was almost a 10,000 peso bill or something astronomical. And I'm like, no freaking way. I don't care if we had the AC. We only had the AC on at night during that time. And I said, there's no way. There's no way. So we kind of thought at that point that he had either wired it out to neighbors, because there was a woman that lived next door originally 3 years ago that was running an entire Sorry store. She had parties every night, karaoke, and I don't know what happened. I don't know if he was loaning her this, I don't know, but never got any compensation. He didn't take even a portion off the bill. And I know that you can't run bills over because they would shut the electricity off. So I don't know what happened, but I'm just curious, could that be what's going on now? Do they have to get at our main box down there, or are they tapping into a wire? But I think we definitely are causing our own electric bill, because I had, for those that weren't in here, I have the AC was on cool, not auto. I officially just switched it a few days ago. I've asked George to take a look at it, and I was looking stuff up and going through AI, and it's like, yeah, should have had it on auto. We also just got a dehumidifier. I highly recommend to get a compressor dehumidifier that is meant basically for the house. I haven't had a hot day since. My skin isn't sticky. I haven't broken a sweat in the house, nothing since we've turned this on. We're getting about 10 cups of water a day out of the house, and it's a sealed house. That's how much humidity has been going on. And so ever since then, it's been fine. And the dehumidifier runs, I think, on a couple 100 watts. I think it's going to balance out the actual electric bill, but we shall find out, see what difference. And we got rid of the heavy duty laptop. And so that should make a world of difference. That was an Acer Rogue. It was a heavy duty gaming, like heavy, like I can barely lift it off the table heavy. And George says, yeah, it gets hot. It's probably consuming electricity. I said, well, that'd been nice to know. So we shall see. They send our tax money to Israel and pay off people for police brutality with our tax money. America is a mess, and it's going to eventually fall like all empires. Somebody mentioned that today. They said the empire is falling. Here's my question. Again, I wouldn't say I don't care about either side. I'm just saying that pretty much neutral. Is U.S. going to join Israel if they keep attacking Israel with Iran? They said he's not involved, but where is the limit? I am not that politically tied to know these things, but I know right now that the other country is attacking Israel quite a bit, and I'm thinking, isn't America going to eventually back them? Are they going to go back Iran? I don't know. I'm married to an American and I'm born in the Philippines. Ah, gotcha. Okay, so you're the same thing. So then you're a Filipino guy, unless you're Filipina. So I can't see your photos. Oh, there you are. So I think you are Filipina. Sweet. My husband doesn't like to be on my channel either. He does like to be on it, but we recently had a fight, and we had one about 5 months ago, but we sit here and we've had it out. For those that know us, I mean, the others are acting like this is new. Now, did I go into full attack? Yeah, I went off the chain this time. But there's always two sides to the situation. But he usually does, but during the last year or two, he's just been doing other things. So he's lost some of the interest to the channel. So, and it's, sometimes he's ready to go and sometimes he's not. So it depends maybe if he's sleeping or not sleeping or what's going on. But a long time ago, YouTube drains couples. And, there were a couple channels recently that admitted it was a strain on their marriage. Is it a strain on ours? Yes and no. Only when there's disagreements on topics or like that. We were literally fighting about a countdown clock, and he was just kept going on about a countdown clock. And so it's things like that. But when it's just me and him and we go places, it's fine. When we cook in the kitchen or, do other things, it's fine. But there's always going to be some sort of issue going on with the channel. He didn't mind being on the channel. It's just that, he just, there's a, I don't know. I just think it's just over time. He likes doing the out and about, and he's been too busy doing the out and abouts, and he likes the lives, but he just, yeah. So no, he didn't mind it. Best way to check if you have illegal connection to your power is turn off all sources. Yeah, so yeah, I can try doing that and sending him down, or I will probably have to go down and look because yeah, it's not easy because their gate's locked and you can't get them to come out half the time. I'd have to wait. When the landlord comes on the 15th, we could try that because he can go down there and actually get them. I don't like that our meter and being able to see it is in somebody else's yard, but it happens. That was like our place at the other place. All the meters were inside of our gated, we had that little gated section where nobody could do. So it was the same. Yes, Ruby. Sometimes the caretakers are the culprits. If the owners are older or have passed. Yeah, that's what we were dealing with here. Supposedly the guy in here, the guy is a doctor in the US that owns all of these. And I found out he's not trying to sell them. I think a couple years ago he was thinking about it. But he had a caretaker or a renter person. And see, I thought they were all linked together. I thought it was his uncle. So that's why I really was demanding that they repay some of the electric. I'm like, the dude's been here. Oh, he's been here for a few months. Okay. Well, the bill is astronomical after 10 days. It did not cost that kind of money for electricity. We didn't have nothing. We didn't have nothing hooked up. And I'm like, how could we have a bill that big? And it turns out that it was the caretaker's uncle. Something was going on. But George said that something on our bill shows that this neighborhood is doing it constantly because we are paying, I think, almost 2,000 pesos out for, he called whatever it was on the bill. And I said, that's really crazy. And he said, that's for people stealing power and we're paying for the others that have been doing it. I don't know. I never heard such a thing. Paid protesters. They're in a lay the problem. People will. Oh, they've been doing it for years. They did that back in the 70s and 60s. And here's something else I want to say again about, I keep mentioning the Arnold Schwarzenegger interview with, God, I can't think of the late night talk show. This was literally like 2 days ago. He said that things are way better now than they were when he entered the country in 1968. Talk about fluffing something. This is what I believe about other channels. They're either super toxic or they're fluffing things, right? He said that with the Martin Luther King thing, I'm not discounting these, and JFK being unalived, and the protesting and Watergate, what's going on now is a walk in the park. Things were bad back in the 60s. I was like, I wish there, I mean, come on. There's so much more going on. It's unreal. I mean, he evidently isn't thinking down to the gangs, the illegals, the trafficking, the internet that's caused a ton of stuff, and the scams and deceptions. And there's so much. That's a side note. But I'm like, this guy's just fluffing right now. I like Schwarzenegger. And then he went on about Michael Jackson coming and seeing him during that movie where he was it Jingle Bell All the Way? He said for 2 or 3 days, Michael Jackson came and sat with him in his trailer to discuss the movie and had lunch with him. And when he was asked what he had for lunch, he couldn't remember that part of it. So, but he remembered everything else. So it was a lot of fluffing, and they did it back then. They paid the protesters back then, depending on the groups and everything. So, unfortunately, you may have to pass some money to the power company workers to check it out. So, yeah, he reads it about the 2025th. So, you think if I gave him a tip, that he would just go and actually ask to take a look at it? Or are they able to check it from the line? I don't know. I think we are paying what we are because it was only discovered that, like I said, the AC was on 20. We run it 24/7, and it was on cool, not auto. So it wasn't adjusting at all. So with it at the temperature at 26, it was fighting all the time and running all the time. Now it's not. it's on auto, and soon as it gets at the temperature, I can hear that it's not using the compressor or nothing, and the dehumidifier is helping, and then the heavy duty laptop's gone. I bet the bill, and it's cooling down outside. It was only 80 something for like 2 days. And so my guess is it'll go from, we had the 11,000 and then a 10,000 bill. I bet it's down to 6 or 7 next month or on the 25th. So I can only hope. Brazil, Burundi, Philippines, Hawaii. What is going on? Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. That type of stuff right there is them pretending to be bots, hoping, or a trollish act to disrupt the live. But when I've checked these out or talked to people, anybody that puts that many words in a row is trying to run a bot to get the channel in trouble. And they'll already know that we have a manager. So whatever that's about. Okay, America will never back Iran. I didn't think so, but I mean, he's already announced that he's not on either side, but I'm sure there's a limit. So I'm just wondering what will push US into um, domestic, or not domestic, but, siding with one of them, because eventually I mean, nothing would surprise me at all. Hey, what is going on, Ken? I am the opposite of a prepper. I procrastinate so much that I'm determined, um, yeah, to myself. Oh, you're a detriment. Sorry, not determined, detriment to yourself. Um, George is really a good prepper, and he's good about getting things done. But if I had to wait for him to plan, that's not him. He's a good little worker, and he's one of those that just, you could say, hey, the yard work needs to be done. But it will not be George that says, you know what, that yard needs to be done today, and it needs to be done every Sunday and set a schedule. That's not George. So my husband is, but he is a prepper. Lyndon B. Johnson was right, and instead of continually falling for it, white people ignored his comment. The government uses color schemes to keep us separated. Now, that's true. It's true. And I just seen where Trump said that he's going to possibly bring back the farm workers. And then I'm thinking, but if you do that, don't you have to do that? So if they're illegal and you let them stay for the farm work, why can't they stay for the other jobs? There's so many other jobs that they do there. So when do you draw the line? I get it's for the food and everything, but there are other things. So it's so much going on. Hey, Harry, we are involved. I had to look at the clock because the power will go down at 8 o'clock for those that don't. If didn't hear me in the beginning, I had some technical difficulties bringing the screen up, and there is a power outage for 8 hours at 8. We are involved as we are regarded by Iran as the great Satan. I mean, it's kind of insane. I live by the Tesla plant going to work on Saturdays. They get bussed in. Coworkers told me his neighbor gets $200 daily picket duty. Wow. Mostly older, retired as a side hustle. They're all over. Yeah, you get a bunch of Karens out there. I hate to say it. There are the Karens that just show up, and I'm like, not me, man. I know most of this. I'm just gonna be like, you know, mm-mm. Gonna sit in the AC and watch me some Netflix. Not at 50 and not with what's really going on. It does to it. Hey, James. It does, but this one that I have is an inverter, and it's not a gigantic one. It's about the size of it shows the wattage on it. Actually, it only shows it's rated at 180, and it's on auto, so it's not kicking on all the time, and it's an inverter one. So according to people, the most they've seen it running all the time is at like 1,000 pesos. So we'll see. I don't discount, but for my electric bill being 11,000, with that should make a difference because now the AC is not pulling that hard because this is picking up the moisture. So me and George is hoping there's a good balance. But although this has got the compressor, it's set on auto and it's not set at like 40. So it's like it's somewhere we put it between 50 and 60, and it's actually cold in here. Before it, we had the air on, and if you put your hand up at the AC, you couldn't even feel it. There was so much humidity. That's how much humidity is in this area. This has been the hottest place we've been in. The other places did not feel this bad. So hopefully it does. All right, so there's a little bit of time left. I'm going to go through some of the things that, facing the crisis here in the Philippines. It also could be banking. That's another crisis that happens, a very common crisis that can set you way back and cause a disaster. Is like cards get destroyed. Like some people only bring one bank card to go to their bank, and they don't have the ability to do any wiring, and they need those cards just to get to their bank accounts because they're different type of bank accounts. So then I've even known people that had to go back to the U.S. to correct banking. They leave the banking and information with the family member. The cards reject. They shut the accounts down. They don't have forwarding addresses. All this stuff happens, and banking becomes a major problem. Then you can't pay your bill, like that homeless guy. Now, on the last video, I talked about that American veteran that's in the Greenbelt area in Manila. I will correct. It's the way I said it. I said 24-year. I might have said 24-year-old veteran. He was in the military for 24 years. The guy definitely didn't look 24, but the guy was behind 3 months on his rent. Filipinos were very nice. They even offered to give him a plane ticket home. He ended up getting cantankerous, didn't pay the cab person, didn't have a ticket, got in a fight with the people at the airport, and ended up in jail for a while. Now he's back out on the street homeless. I don't know why when he got out they didn't deport him. I'm still trying to figure some of this out. And Kerry just put another guy that is homeless because of his banking and things going on, because he has, I think it's in Germany, he has 3 different apartment rentals. And there's money coming in, but he can't get to his money. He's sleeping on the street. The man owns property and has family that can take care of him, but he has no ability to do anything, can't afford his load, nothing for his phone. And so banking has become critical. And next that will set you back is like scams or relationships going bad with Filipinas, whether you're married to them, whether you're a girlfriend. It could be male too. There are male on male. There's, if things were to go south, and this is an example, like with me and George, then I would just be fine here until I would decide to go back to the U.S. A lot of people like, stinky thinking or wishful thinking that they're like, oh, well, you need to go home, Heidi, because you fighting with George. And it's like, first off, you don't give up on the marriage that easy. And just because we have one fight and a blow up and this stuff doesn't mean it's over. But if I was to lose my banking and George wasn't around, I would figure things out. But, I have family back in the U.S., but it wouldn't send me back. I would go into a different visa status, and then I would just stay. And so, but a lot of guys don't have that ability. Somehow their Filipino partner, okay, they end up buying property, then the property's in their names, and then money was used up for different projects and the kids and all that. And we never know both sides. Out of all the couples we talked about, Mark Thornton and the Campbells and all this, we don't know all sides of the stories. Things happen, why finances go south, but the fallout is the expats that do not have a footing in this country. Get that footing, people. That's, if you're coming here as an expat, find that footing. Do not rely on your Filipino fully. The reason I'm getting a lot of flack also is that, I'm going to make sure things are done. If the other person doesn't want to get things done, then I'm going to get it done. So being an independent American woman gets, a lot of flack. There, I get that there's a balance. So what I'm trying to say is if you're here as an expat, make sure you have your ducks in a row. It will not take a lot for you to be, on your tail end or on the back end. And I'm a very strong independent woman, and at some points I do feel weird, like to the balance of, what, this could happen to me, and then that could be me out on the street, and then, am I going to be in that same position? So I just don't always feel fully secure here. If you're not in your home country, you're not secure. That's the bottom line. Now, I guess that's what I'm trying to say, is that, you want to make sure that things are done. With all of the things, next I'm going to move on to like storms, fires. Like I'm seeing a bunch more of these fires going on. The fires happen due to bad electrical wiring. Again, people don't turn off the gas properly. They use wood to burn to cook and everything. I just discovered here, didn't discover, we noticed that the ceilings when we moved in here on the top upstairs had a bunch of gray smoke. And then in the bathroom, we had noticed that the tiles did too. And then we seen that it was up on the ceiling. I'm assuming that the people cooked on this back porch, but used a lot of wood and stuff. And they just left, of course, the windows were wide open and it just rolled throughout the house. And they never did paint over any of this. They never did clean any of it up. It's even upstairs. And I'm like, that's pretty scary. And so these things is a concern. So, there is so many possibilities of emergencies like this. And then with the rainy season, it hasn't stopped raining. It has not stopped. And it said that there are typically 20 storms a year here in the Philippines. And last year, I'm going to give you a list. I did write this down. There were 6 in a row. They had tropical storms that were in a row, 6 of them, and then they had 3 super typhoons that came through. They're saying this year there's going to be a lot of them. So hopefully we're not dealing with that, but I've already seen so many videos of the flooding. We do not get it in this area. George put us in Angel City area. This is where he was born and raised, went to college, and now he's got us in an area where he talked to the neighbors before we moved in and all that, and we don't get any at all. So we're pretty safe on that. So I had discussed the Bugout bag in the beginning, and with the Bugout bags, you definitely want to have things like your meds, get one of those battery backup radios, some rations, some water, get copies of your ID, laminate them. We put like iodine in our bag. Put a list here what I put in there. We got the glow sticks, the tangs, some clothes. We've even got things to cut wood and that little saw rope and everything else. So you want to be prepared. That is for sure. So you have to be prepared from A to Z. And I wouldn't wait for somebody else either. So I would just do it. You're liable to get your expat that doesn't want to, or it could be your Filipino here that doesn't want to, because Filipinos tend to live for every day. Like one meal at a time, one shopping at a time, and we're used to being over excessive and having the items. I'm somewhere in between of where I was in the US. I still get a second item knowing it's going to run out, like toothpaste, and we keep the canned things in case something happens, and rotate it and everything. But got to be prepared. So yeah. I stay as far away from the protest as possible. Yeah, I just can't. Yeah, I just can't actually see it. So that is for sure. It just, I mean, I guess if they're getting paid, but I would still stay away. I get the frustration, but you wouldn't do that. The stuff they're doing, they would not be doing in their home country. And I keep hearing the jokes like on social media where they're saying, you talk about your country and this is and they're like, dude, you were born here. Like some of them were born here and they're out there protesting, and you know, it's they're living a good life here. That's why they came here and they're enjoying the country, and then all this stuff going. It's just a lot of stuff. Shout out. What is going on, Steven? From Calgary, from Canada. Hope your days are well. Yeah. You need a job? Yeah. Well, not here you won't. Not in the Philippines. So that is for sure. So, all right, guys. Well, there's not a whole lot to say about this. I'll have to edit off the top half of this live. And I got a power outage here in about 15 minutes. So if you guys aren't subscribed, be sure to subscribe and to leave comments if you guys are rewatching this, and check out our other videos. And I will talk to you guys later. Thank you for everybody that came in and all of our members. Happy Saturday. Stay safe with everything going on, and should be back in a few days unless something else comes up in the news. All right, guys.